Hi everyone, my name is Beth, and today is December 31st, 2022, and I just wanted to show you what I was doing today as far as preparing for my seed starting and getting ready for my 2023 garden. What I'm doing today is there was a chart that somebody had on one of the Facebook pages that I belong on, and a woman shared, which I thought was a great idea, so I want to share it with you guys, is a seed starting chart with the dates of 2023 and how they coincide with the weeks. On the chart, it goes from, this is pertaining to our last frost date, which in my area, Northeast Ohio, is April 27th. And the way I found that date was to go on, I believe the Farmer's Almanac has it, or you can Google last frost date, first frost date. And there's apps out there that you can click on, and typically it goes by your zip code. So I put in my zip code for Northeast Ohio, and my last frost date is approximately around 4/27. And of course, the dates for our weather, they can differ. I mean, some years I have had beautiful all of April, and there was only a few times I had to run out and cover plants with sheets, different things like that to protect them in case it did snow or they were predicting a frost. However, if you do it too soon, because the weather is absolutely gorgeous, then you can have like a week to 2 weeks of cold. And that means you're going to be spending a lot of time running out there covering up your plants. So I try to keep it within the dates of, like our last frost prediction is around April 27th. This way I can kind of minimize the days that I am running out there and covering my plants. I also have a greenhouse out there, so that definitely helps. My greenhouse is 6 foot by 8 foot. I do have a heater out there. So on the cooler nights, I could put the heater on, protect them from the frost and different things like that. But I typically don't want to put anything in there until a lot of the major weather is over, for as far as snow and freezing temperatures, because it can make your electric bill go up. And so anyhow, so I'm going to get back to what I'm doing today. So I went on one of the Facebook groups, gardening books, that I am a member of. And this one woman had an idea, and I absolutely loved it. And so she went ahead and put her last frost date. And so ours in my area, Northeast Ohio, in my area is April 27th, which gives us about approximately 185 days for our summer garden. And this is for 2023. So the chart starts with I started with January 1st, and it takes me all the way to April 29th. That's the last week before our last frost. So, and things to keep me in line of when I should start planting things. I'm going to hang this on my refrigerator, and I'm going to flip this around so you can see what I'm talking about. Okay, so here is the chart, and I put on there, my last frost date, April 27th. Seed starting dates for 2023, and so you can see how it goes from week 17, which is 17 weeks prior to our last frost. So week 17 through week 14, so January 1st to pretty much January 28th, the end of the month, I will be doing my winter sowing. Okay, sorry, had a phone call coming in. Okay, so the winter sowing I'll be doing during that time, probably closer to January 8th, the 16th week. Our winter, we just got through an Arctic blast, which was very unusual for our area and basically pretty much the whole United States. was going through that really cold spell. We were down, wind chill factors were like going down to minus 30. It was crazy. So, but typically our winter with snow and everything starts in January and February. So that's when I like to do my winter sowing. And I will have another video on how I do that, and the containers I use. And so getting on with the seed starting. I do have an area in my laundry room with a grow light, and it's 4 foot long, and that's where I start all of my seeds, basically. So if you reference on here the chart for week 12, that's February 5th through February 11th, that's pretty much when I am going to be starting my hot peppers. And the reason why my hot peppers, if you reference the back of a seed packet, like this one here is the Hungarian Yellow Wax Hot. And on the back of the package, it gives you an idea when you should start. So start indoors 8 to 12 weeks before your last frost. And hot peppers do take a while to germinate sometimes. A lot of people do use a heat mat. The grow light that I use does put off some heat, and that's all I use is my grow light. I don't use the heat mats. And I have a pretty good germination rate. And my seeds, you know, I get from M.I. Gardener, also from Baker's Creek. And the seeds I primarily get are the heirloom seeds. And the reason for that is, you know, if you're going to save seeds, you want to use the open pollinated seeds, heirlooms. So when you save them, you're pretty much guaranteed to get the same plant, you know, pepper, tomato, or whatever from the heirloom. If you go with the hybrid, then there's a chance you're not going to get that same identical tomato or pepper. So that's why I like the heirlooms, plus I like the stories behind it. So anyhow, okay, so hot peppers, I'll be starting week 12, and I will also start my rosemary. Rosemary is really hard to get to germinate, and it takes a while, so I might even start that in January, end of January. And it's stevia I have written down, but it's not stevia, it's a salvia plant, and that is, the leaves are very sweet, like sugar, and I think the younger the leaves are, is the best time to, they're the sweetest. The more mature the leaves get, to me, it's more like a combination of sweet and bitter. But anyhow, I'll be starting the stevia, or the salvia. And so, okay, so that's when I'm doing my hot peppers. And they do take a while to grow. So now week 9 and week 8, pretty much I'll be starting my sweet peppers. I do a lot of Cubanelle peppers, the bell peppers, but the Cubanelle do tend to grow tall, and so I don't want to start those too soon. Last year I did start them fairly early, and I ended up having to prune the tops because it was just getting too crowded in my greenhouse. So, plus I sell the peppers, and it kind of, when people see the top pruned off, they're not so excited about buying those pepper plants. So I don't want to do that, especially for the ones that I'm selling. But I do prune some of my pepper plants, which promotes more peppers. I've done that for a couple years, and it really does work. But I don't like to prune them if I'm going to be selling those pepper plants. So, okay, so going by this chart, there's week 8. Where I could start my snapdragons and different flowers indoors. My leeks, I might actually even start week 9. This is kind of just a reference for me. And eggplant has a great germination rate for me, and they grow fairly quickly after they get going. So I might wait until week 7 to do that. My tomatoes. I'm not going to start those until right around week 6, which is March 19th to March 25th. And again, I'm in Northeast Ohio, so I don't want to start them too soon because they get large, and then I am up potting sometimes twice. And tomatoes, you could buy a small tomato plant, or you could buy a large in a half-gallon or a gallon container, and basically those two, the small and the large, will catch up to each other, and you won't even know which was the small plant or the large plant during the growing season, because they all catch up to each other. So if you do buy a small plant, sometimes they're cheaper because you're not up-potting so much, you're using less soil, you're using less fertilizer, and it saves on the cost. And so I like to keep that in mind because I want to keep the cost lower for selling my plants. Okay, so direct sow. That, again, you want to reference the back of your seed packet. So I wrote down March 26th to April 1st, I would be direct sowing carrots. But on the back of the packet, it says actually to not to direct sow until after the last frost. I'm just looking on here. They like the cooler weather. I do the carrots, in the spring and also in the fall. And they're just nothing like the carrots you buy in the store. So, and I don't have a problem with my carrots. There's different ways you can do the germination for carrots outdoors, which I can go over that, when it comes time for that. The bunching onions, actually, I have down here April 2nd, April 8th, which is the 4th week before the last frost. I might start those a little bit sooner. And direct sowing outside, let's see what it says for spinach. Okay, New England spinach. Direct seed and garden at about the time of last spring frost, or start transplants earlier indoors. Spinach, I typically do the direct sowing outside, so that is going to be right around the time before the last frost that I'll put the spinach in. I also grow lettuce, and I like to try and get the heads, so I do start those and then transplant those outside. But those are also, they could take a little bit of frost, but, you don't want to plant them too soon outside. But they are a cool weather crop. Once it starts heating up for the summer, they do tend to bolt. So kohlrabi I have on here. I'll probably start that indoors and then transplant outside. I have my squash, and that I will probably start in the week before the last frost, or even actually in May. I have pumpkin, I have honey nut, I have butternut squash, and I like to get a week or two start on those before I put them in the garden. And certain things like tomatoes and the peppers, you don't want to put those outside until the soil warms up, especially the peppers, because you can stunt the growth in the beginning. So the hot peppers, regular peppers, they will not go in my outdoor garden until in May, probably towards the end of May, where the soil is actually heating up in our area. So anyhow, I wanted to show that, and I thought it was a great idea. So I hope this makes sense to you guys. So I wanted to also share with you some other things that I'm doing to prepare for my 2023 garden. I do have a lot of seeds, and so I like to go over my inventory of the seeds that I have. And this is what I do, kind of categorizing my cherry tomatoes, and like the black strawberry. I grew those last year. I did love them. There's mixed reviews on how people feel about them. I just think it's a beautiful strawberry, and it tasted good. And I have 2 packets of those. The blueberries, I love growing those. They're beautiful, tasting like a regular tomato. Tropical Sunset, that's also a beautiful cherry tomato. Black cherry is one of my favorites. If you haven't tried black cherry tomato, try it. You'll absolutely love it. Another one I do is the Sun Gold. The Sun Gold is a hybrid. So those I don't save the seeds because you're not guaranteed to get the same tomato the following year. So anyhow, these are, I do this so that if I need to order more seed packets, I know what I have, what I don't have, things that I want. And a lot of my seeds I get from M.A. Gardener, Baker Creek. And again, I do sell the tomato plants, so I do have an abundance of certain ones. Beefsteak was a big one last year that people wanted. San Marzano I absolutely love for making canning tomato paste, tomato sauce. And the Thornburg Terracotta, first year for that, those were free seeds from Baker Creek. And, you know, if you order so many, you get free seed packets. And here's some of the other ones. This year I'm trying the pineapple tomato. It looked really interesting. I think it would be great for like a salsa. Ground cherries, I've never ever grown those before. So if you want to leave comments that you have and how you like it. The lychee, I'm not sure if that's the right pronunciation. These tomatoes, I've had that packet for a couple years now. And the only thing that kind of turned me off from that is it does have thorns. Anyhow, so I'm not really sure about that. And then I went on with my peppers. How many seed packets? Cubanelle is one of my favorites. And for selling, a lot of people do like the different bell peppers. So I might get another red bell pepper. I have the orange bell, 3 packets of those. Purple Beauty, I only have one of those. King of the North, I only have 1 packet of those. So those I might order some more just for the purpose of my plant sale. Jalapenos, those are some of my favorites. I love making cowboy candy. There's the orange spice, pumpkin spice, lemon spice. Those are really, they're colorful. Another favorite of mine is the Craig's Grande. You can use it for making the cowboy candy. Also, it's a big hit when you stuff them and wrap in bacon. It was a huge hit. And I made those this year for my nephew's graduation party, and everybody loved them. The Tam jalapeno isn't quite so hot, so I do have some of those. And the not a Pinot. Sorry about that. Okay, and then I have my hot peppers. I'm not a real big fan on hot peppers. My neighbors love the Hungarian yellow wax. So I do grow those, and I share with my neighbor. Count Dracula is another wonderful one. I do put that in my cowboy candy. They turn a lipstick red, and just a beautiful plant in itself. The leaves are purple, and it's just beautiful. Shishitos are another favorite of mine. The habanada I wasn't real crazy about. Anaheim is great for salsa, and different ones that I have here. So, and then my cucumbers, the pickling cucumbers, I have 2 packets of those. Now the Bait Alpha, not sure if that's pronounced right. I have 2 packets of those. Now, one thing I found out about these, I do have a greenhouse, 6 foot by 8 foot, and they don't need pollinators, which I thought was really interesting. I'm going to have to read up more on that, but from what I understand, they do not need the pollinator. So if you have a greenhouse, it's a great cucumber to grow in your greenhouse. Sorry about that. Drink some coffee. Okay, and then, you know, my zucchini. But anyhow, that's giving you an idea. My winter squash, different things I'll be growing. I love the custard. Stuffing that with Italian sausage and topping with tomato sauce and cheese. Really good. Sugar pie pumpkin, I did that last year. And I also save seeds from those. I can't remember if I mentioned, but, you know, I mainly do the heirloom seeds. So I want to try and make sure I get the same plant that I got last year. So I do have some of those seeds from my own sugar pie pumpkins that I grew. And this will be the first year I want to try the asparagus. Brussels sprouts, I really have a hard time. I don't know why. So you guys want to put in comments things that you do with your Brussels sprouts, how you start them, the type of soil, watering, fertilizer. It'd be great to share with others. Okay, so that's, doing the inventory on my seed packet collection. And the other thing I want to share with you guys is how I store my seeds. So I go ahead and I've got these, they're like a photo suitcase. And in each suitcase, you have these little separate plastic containers. So I separate these by the what's in each one. So like this one, I do have bunching onions. For my tomatoes, so this one, I put all my paste tomatoes in one. And it's great because when I am looking for something pretty quick, when it's time for me to start certain seeds, I can say, okay, here's all my tomatoes. Then I have my peppers. I have the sweet peppers. I have a box for the hot peppers. And then seeds, if you store them properly, they'll last for years. So I store these in my spare bedroom / office on a shelf, and I keep it out of direct sunlight in a cool place and away from any moisture. I don't have them anywhere near like a heating vent or anything like that. And I have seeds here that I'm still using from 2019. And I mean, they'll last for years, just as long as you properly store them. Some people have stored their seeds in the freezer. I've never done that. So I guess I could always try it. And from what I understand, I mean, that really keeps them for years by storing in the freezer. So if you want to share how you guys store your seeds, you're more than welcome. Put them in the comments. So I am starting this year. I'm going to try and get more into sharing how I start my seeds, doing videos on that. So if you like the video, go ahead and hit that like button. Leave some comments, and if you'd like to see some more future videos, just go ahead and hit the subscribe button. Whenever a new video is posted, you can hit that bell, and that will also notify you when a new video is uploaded. So I really appreciate you listening, and I hope you like it. I also want to put out there that I have a free Facebook page. And on there right now we have 80-some members, and it is a private group, but you can request. It's called Flying by the Seat of My Plants, and there are some seasoned gardeners on there, and we do, we share, pictures, photos. You can upload a video of your garden, a walkthrough, what you're doing, and sharing different plants you're growing, different tomatoes. If you find something that you really like and you want to share with the group. Other ones do put on there for pest control. Some, like this year, I had a bad problem with white flies. They were nasty. And, videos on blight in the Facebook group. So, they'll have questions. They'll show pictures like, how do I solve this? And I encourage everybody to put down what they do, different fertilizers you might use. So anyhow, that's another place to share things with gardening. And I also do some canning. I share recipes on there. So anyhow, there's a couple different places that you can check it out. So thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you guys on here again. All right, thanks so much. All right, bye.